Scheiße. Umaru Musenderu Nani Umaru Musenderu Nani It looks ugly, let me just do some. Put that in my ass. Put that in my ass. Donkey, what are you doing in me swamp? Donkey, what are you doing in my swamp? Donkey, what are you doing in my swamp? Let me edit that to make a black hat that sees the black hat. Oh, look at swag. You with swag. Adidas. Kill remote swag. Cute remote swag. Cute. Oh, I twisted my feet. Oh, boom, Wait, come here.
No.
Oh, okay, I'll show you.
No, I don't want to. Fuck. You don't do that. Oh, hey,
Gun crazy. 2-year-old accidentally shoots and kills mom in Walmart. A 2-year-old boy accidentally killed his mother with her own gun at a Walmart in Hayden, Idaho. 29-year-old Veronica Rutledge was in the electronics section with her 2-year-old son and 3 other children on Tuesday morning. The son reached into his mom's purse and pulled out a small caliber handgun she was carrying. Fortunately, the gun discharged and killed the mother, who had a concealed weapons permit. Authorities arrived at the scene of the shooting. The supermarket was temporarily closed while police collected evidence. Show us.
What causes black hair on your tongue? That looks nasty. According to CNN, a 55-year-old woman developed a case of black hairy tongue after taking an antibiotic for an infected wound. The condition refers to when papillae on the tongue grow longer than normal and turn black. Papillae are normally less than a millimeter long, but can grow to between 12 and 18 millimeters in length in patients suffering from the condition. The blackening occurs as the growing papillae trap microscopic food particles that allow bacteria and microbes to flourish on the tongue.
Television presents Stupid Parents.
Yeah,
Now,
just
honey,
like
parents forget child safety lock. 1-year-old falls from moving car. In Taiwan, the owner of this dash cam caught the horrifying moment a 1-year-old baby fell out of a moving vehicle. The father, who was seated in the back with the baby and the toddler, leapt from the car to scoop up the tiny infant. According to the owner of the dash cam, the infant was silent and still, either unconscious or at worst dead. The baby struck the back of his head when he fell from the van. An impact to the head could cause dizziness, nausea, and in worst-case scenario, death. Police want to remind parents of young children that kids are required to be strapped into a car seat, and parents can be fined $50 to $100 if they're not. If young children are riding in the back seat, the child safety lock should be engaged to prevent the children from opening the car door while the vehicle is in motion.
When you're in football training, this is how we train for football. Daddy drives and you run. Get your little ass in shape.
What better way to train your 5-year-old son for a future in football than by forcing him to run as you drive alongside in a car? A video posted on World Star Hip Hop shows this Dad of the Century contender getting his son warmed up by swearing at him as he rolls his lazy butt alongside. While Super Dad is filming video, he then questions whether his son wants to play for the Texans or the Cowboys. Does it really make a difference? When his son stops to take a breather, the dad gets the genius idea of driving directly behind the boy with a car, forcing the 5-year-old to speed up. And because there's absolutely no danger in speeding up and honking while driving behind a running child, that's exactly what Einstein does. Dad better watch out. One of these days, his son might just go postal on him. Wonder how this moron would train his son if he was a swimmer.
run, Forrest, run.
Arizona dad jailed after throwing toddler into pool to teach her a lesson. An Arizona father is in jail after security camera footage showed him tossing his 23-month-old daughter into the family pool to teach her a lesson. Corey McCartney of Phoenix was reportedly angry with his daughter Mia after she allegedly dropped a puppy into the pool, which resulted in the young dog's death. So, to teach her a lesson, McCarthy first hosed the little girl down before holding her over the pool and threatening to drop her in. Then he tormented her some more by repeatedly pretending to throw her into the pool, before finally launching her into the pool. She flew about 10 feet before landing head first in the pool. Whereupon a woman fished her out as she sank. McCarthy was booked on 2 counts of child abuse after the child's mother told police.
Mama dangles toddler over cheetah pit and drops him. Idea to dangle your tiny child over any sort of railing. One of the many life lessons we can learn from a certain late pop star. But you definitely don't dangle your kid over a cheetah pit railing lest he slip from your grasp, like this little tyke. The good news is that's really where the toddler's bad luck ended Saturday. He suffered only minor injuries despite falling 12 feet. And when his father jumped in to save him, kudos, Dad. The cheetah took no interest in the pair, which is especially lucky considering cheetahs can go from 0 to 60 in about 4 seconds. The toddler did make it out of the pit, and paramedics took him to Cleveland Metro Hospital for a leg injury. The zoo says it plans to file charges.
Why is this little boy running scared up the road in the middle of traffic? On February 27th, the boy and his grandfather were driving through the city of Suzhou in China's Jiangsu province. The boy, possibly bored, somehow got the idea of climbing over the back seat of Grandpa's van before maneuvering his way up and over the back seat, landing himself in the trunk. Unfortunately, the trunk door had been damaged in a previous collision and would occasionally fly open from time to time. This time, when it did, out the child fell, tumbling down the road. Miraculously, he didn't appear injured, only confused as to why his grandpa didn't stop the car to rescue him. That's because Grandpa apparently had no clue the little guy had fallen out. He just kept on driving until others who saw what had happened managed to flag him down. The boy, who looks to be about 2, was picked up and taken to safety by a good Samaritan surnamed Zhang. Zhang then handed the frightened kid over to his grandpa, who also appeared to be a little unnerved. Fortunately, there are good people in the world willing to rescue children when they, fall out of the back of moving cars. Maybe think about getting that trunk door fixed, huh, Gramps?
Dad leaves 6-month-old daughter in hot van and puts her in the fridge to cool her. If there was an award for world's most careless dad, 33-year-old Michael Tadford would run away with the trophy. On June 20th around 9 a.m., the delinquent father dropped his 2 other children, a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, off at daycare. An unemployed high school teacher, when he got back to his house, he forgot that his 6-month-old daughter was in the back seat. She'd stayed home that day with a fever. After taking a nice long nap, Tadford woke up in a panic, remembering his baby, who'd been sitting in the minivan for 3 to 4 hours in 90-degree heat. When he got to the child, to his horror, she was burning up and unresponsive. Tadford later told police she was hot as a brick when he found her. In an attempt to cool her down, he brought her inside and put her in the fridge, hoping she would be okay. Unfortunately, this method wasn't working, and after trying CPR, he called both his wife and 911 to report his failings as a parent. Sadly, his infant daughter did not make it. Michael Tadford was arrested and charged with manslaughter.
Young Florida mother hides infant in car trunk to avoid getting traffic ticket. Like most people, 19-year-old Florida woman Breonna Watkins wanted to avoid getting a traffic fine. But unlike most people, she went to ridiculous lengths to get out of a $60 ticket for not having a child seat, and still failed. Watkins caught the attention of Broward County cops when a patrol car noticed her vehicle stopped at an intersection. And when officers saw she had a broken headlight to boot, they decided to pull her over. Spooked by her impending traffic stop, Watkins panicked and instructed a young relative of hers to quickly hide her 5-month-old baby in the trunk of the car, which the boy duly proceeded to do. But when officers pulled her over and started talking to her, she rather naturally appeared evasive. And guess what else? It wasn't too long before Junior began to find his surroundings uncomfortable and started to cry. Upon opening the trunk, officers were taken aback by the disturbing sight of the child, surrounded by such dangerous items as rusty garden shears, a rusty coat hanger, a rusty tire iron, and an empty gas canister. Watkins was then arrested. It was just a big mistake.
Hunt in Connecticut had distributed more than 9,000 eggs over 3 different fields. Each field was assigned an age group and a staggered start time. The free event saw record turnout this year, far exceeding what the company had prepared for. But not everyone wanted to play by the rules. Greedy parents pushed and shoved their way onto the fields before organizers could start the fun. They cleared the first field and continued to the second and third, leaving crying children and angry parents in their wake. Some children had candy stolen from their baskets, another had a bloody nose and other injuries. The company gave out candy to those who didn't collect any during the incident and apologized, saying, "We only wanted to do good for the local community."
Parents burn homeless person with firecrackers and show children. Albuquerque police arrested 2 parents who lit fireworks from their SUV and threw them at a sleeping homeless man, all in the presence of their 3 children, aged 12, 10, and 2. On the evening of July 11th, Joshua Benavides and Irene Enriquez drove their purple SUV to the corner of Quincy Street and Silver Avenue with their children. The couple then threw firecrackers at a sleeping homeless person, seriously burning him. When the man fell unconscious, the couple fled. The homeless man, who was Native American, suffered serious burns and remained in intensive care for 2 weeks. After the surveillance video was released, neighbors tipped off Albuquerque police, saying that the couple recently painted their SUV white. The couple initially denied their involvement, but were later arrested on charges of aggravated battery and for letting their children witness their crime. Benavides and Enriquez told Albuquerque police that they were only trying to scare the homeless man, not set him ablaze. But what do you think?
Woman jailed for leaving infant in car during strip club audition. 24-year-old Tennessee woman Kelsey McMurtry falsifies of the lack of affordable child care in the United States when she had to go to a job audition in downtown Nashville last Thursday. Obviously unable to afford a proper nanny, McMurtry had little option but to ask a friend to look after her daughter during her audition at Deja Vu, a strip club. Her friend, however, unwisely neglected her duties by choosing instead to watch Kelsey's performance. Kelsey's infant daughter remained locked in a car by herself for about half an hour. A passerby noticed the girl and immediately called the police. Kelsey's in Deja Vu, a strip club. Her friend, however, unwisely neglected her duties by choosing instead to watch Kelsey's performance.